I first started, I saw like opening for me to like, ooh, I saw black and gray realism, and it's like, oh, that could be an avenue I could go, because he was very impressive. Like in '07, when you saw tattooers doing photorealistic imagery on the skin, I've never seen any tattoos that look like that in person.
We can mention a few names who were your tops at the time. That was '07.
At that time, yeah, Bob Tyrell, Robert Hernandez.
Yeah, Robert Hernandez.
Shit, what's the cat in Michigan?
Renshaw.
Tom Renshaw, right? That's it. That's the one. Yeah, at the time, those guys were slaying.
What? Was it Ryan too, right? No.
Yeah, look at the magazines, like when you're scrolling through that stuff, or scrolling, when you're flipping the pages, you would see things that were like, maybe to me at the time, maybe artistically unimpressive. But then when you would see a human face of Miles Davis or Gene Simmons and Kiss, like that shit, like, damn, I didn't know you could do that. That seemed to me to be the benchmark of like artistic, wow, these guys must be the best. I know these guys are doing these type of tattoos in eyeball with flames or dice and stuff. But then as the years went on, I started seeing Japanese tattoos, and that something exotic about them. There was something, I didn't understand them, so that was probably the allure. What are these flowers? A samurai, a tiger. What are these like? And it was Jeffrey's. Paul Jeffrey's flash sitting on the wall.
Welcome to Fishbowl. Once again, I'm here with my friend Rob Noseworthy.
We're playing pool.
We're gonna play pool while we have this finish off this little interview we started the other day while we're in Costa Rica here. So PuraTinta.
Which one's heads and which one's his tails?
Heads.
Okay. Heads.
What are we gonna talk about today, Rob?
Some of my guest spot experiences and how they may relate to other people's experiences.
Yeah.
And
Younger tattooers, maybe too.
younger tattooers, maybe encourage them to get out the door.
So your first guest spot was?
Shoe swap, Rob Joe Pins Tattoo.
What year was that?
I met him early in my career. My friend Russell actually did more of the heavy lifting, and he was great for sort of getting out there and dragging me along and encouraging me out the door. Yeah.
He was from Manhattan, Russell, right?
Russell, he's from England, but he got me in the door for my apprenticeship, and Russell Moreland, Lurk, if some of you probably know who he is. And yeah, we were on forums. He got me onto forums, Tattoodles, probably led to the guest spotting. And we met through Victoria Jamer and Chris David and the guys at Government Street, who were big fans of their shop. And I think Russell met Rob down there. And then Rob was generous with inviting us up anytime. And Russell wanted to go up one summer, and he said, "Come on, let's go." And I said, "Let's go." And yeah, and so that was my first experience. He was a great host and has been a career-long friend. And that was the first. I'm gonna miss a bunch, but that open, when you get out the door the first time, it's exciting.
And scary.
And scary as hell, yeah. But it was very casual up there. It's shoe swap is smaller cities. So it was kind of the same pace as at home, I went to Ryan Halter's Steveston Tattoo was another guest spot that was impactful for me. I tattooed our friend Dustin Croach, Dustin Bones, who sadly passed away. I tattooed his throat there. I was really honored to get to do that at Ryan's shop because they're a longtime friend.
I think that's one of the first times I noticed your tattoos, actually.
Really?
I think that was Dustin's. Tiger
On his throat.
That's right.
I had tattooed his knee back in Montreal convention. Previously, he had, I'm Saul, I'd say.
Yeah.
He had sort of taken notice of my work there for some reason. Was one of my early supporters. And that was an honor to tattoo a guy like that with his kind of, weight
variety and caliber.
weight in the game and working with the legends he worked with and doing the work that he did, you know, was like kind of like, oh wow, yeah. I was with Steve and Steve was like, Dustin's working. I honestly didn't. And he's a big deal, Rob. This is pretty cool. So that was pretty cool as well. To have Steve kind of there with me.
So that guest spot is where you met kind of some of the more.
I honestly know I met Dustin before I knew Ryan, but it was just like Steve. When it was over, it was exciting. It still is exciting, but it was exciting. Ryan's new shop. You know, I was one of a couple artists, Jody Spice and I were the first guests there, which was pretty cool. Jody, I think, had beat me by a day, but we were sort of really early guest spotters, which was really cool. I'm solid, aren't I?
Yep. I'm trying to listen and.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Was out to Rich's Kapala tattoo, and that was pretty awesome. Obviously, like it wasn't early days of Kapala, but he had that powerhouse crew.
Yeah.
You know, Dan Fletcher and Rube was already there, I think. Who else? Tyler there? Was he there already? He may not have been. I eventually worked there again, I think, with Tyler. But anyways, Justin Kovesi. What else was there?
He had a good crew. No?
Yeah, he had a great crew. Super influential, you know, bunch of guys, and it's pretty unreal.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people had some great guest spots back in the day, right?
Yeah, totally.
But Rich is very welcoming. He has the guest house.
Oh yeah.
Wicked art room and all the right stuff.
And lots of clients, like you know, clients coming in with who he would encourage his clients to get collector pieces from people, you know, and so it's pretty cool going to places like that.
And
then, yeah, what?
You're gonna roll here.
I know, I'm
Just
swinging
remember to
up
help you
JT.
with the couple.
Yeah. Get out here.
Just
Ah.
stay there.
I eventually ended up getting to know you guys and ended up at Deadly, which would have been some of the most formative times guesting, I would think. Seeing you maniacs, you know, doing what you do on the daily was pretty unreal. And you know, that same old thing, feeling out of place and nervous, but feeling welcomed. Everyone I did a guest spot with, I've had a good experience with.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to get out even when
Missed
it's uncomfortable. But everyone's different, you know, and people have to ease into it.
Yeah. And then big one was Skull and Sword. You know, now we're getting into not just the heroes you know, but the heroes you don't know. Working with them is a whole other scary,
You got to meet.
scary business, right? But they were the same. The wonderful thing was, and I think most of any of you young cats out there worried about doing guest spots and that will find out, is that they're the same hard-working, wow, nice shot. The same hard-working, normal people with their own insecurities and their own roundtable discussions on drawing that we all have, right? Like they're stressed out about their clients and and whether their projects are good enough, like we are, and super welcoming to me, you know, as this, you know, shy Canadian kid, old man kid. Yeah, you did it. Still haven't taken down JT.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Rob.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, kids.
That's it. I was only allowed to talk as long as it took JT to
No
sweep
more.
me up. Yeah. Muy bueno, mi amigo.
Muy bueno, bienvenido.
Bienvenido.
Yo soy Ricardo. ¿Cómo está?
Yo estoy Roberto.
Muy bien, Roberto. Mucho gusto.
Gracias, mi amigo.
De nada.
Oh, that's as good as it's ever gotten for me in Spanish.
We're here in beautiful San Jose, Costa Rica. I'm here with my friend Rob Noseworthy. Fresh on the heels of PuraTinta, the first and largest tattoo convention in Costa Rica. Big Pura Vida to everyone in Central America and all our friends out there in the world. And Rob and I were thinking we'd just shoot the shit a little bit for you, have a game of pool, and see who the pool champ is out here at Pura Vida. So far it's been James Tex. You know, like most things, he's competitive and tends to crush us all. But that's life. I think, you know, you learn more through losing and failure than you do through success.
So he's only hurting himself.
So Rob, what did you think of the showdown here? How did you feel about the people and the quality of tattooing?
Surprised me. Not that I shouldn't have expected wonderful people, but very much like we're used to in Canada with just kind, natured, polite, and welcoming people. And the art, I didn't realize they had such a strong thing going on down here in Costa Rica with tattooing.
Neither did I. Honestly, I was unfamiliar with a lot of the artists out here.
Have you played before?
Once or twice.
Okay.
Sorry for the scratch, you know. Like my tattooing, I miss once in a while, you know.
What are we at here? Are you straight?
I'm stripes. You're solids.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was impressed.
Yeah.
Just being an illustrator and liking Japanese tattoos, I did notice like a pretty high level and quality of illustrated and Japanese stuff that I really liked. And I thought people would have been a little more, you know, like sun-baked, like a Florida clientele or something of that nature.
Absolutely.
But stunning tattoos, beautiful, welcoming people. The biggest thing I noticed with the clients at the show was them coming by the table to check out stuff and genuinely spending like 5 minutes looking at each art piece.
Yeah.
And then wanting to like meet you and like say thanks for coming to Costa Rica.
Yeah, usually it's people at you know, at shows I'm used to just kind of like wandering by.
Yeah, look at your portfolio and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
Not too much, you know?
Yeah. Meanwhile, your pressure salesing the
Right, come on, it's better on your wall than it does on my table, buddy.
Yeah, and back to their skin should be sun-baked. Like ours is like just goes gross with sun, but their skin is the
fair.
show. It's like clear. It's like cellophane. With that brown tone, of course, but like just crisp, clean-looking tattoos. The color is bright.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I tattooed a couple Costa Ricans, and it was easy to get the ink in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. And just some of the people down here, you know, like Dan Cordero just doing amazing bodysuits. Having people coming from Argentina, you know, Pablo Barada, and even like his neighbor Diego Apu. People doing awesome work that I don't know their work very well. Was inspiring. Never mind having guys from Brazil like Junior, you know.
Reconnecting with Junior, who did your show a couple years ago. And where I met him, and he came out to visit me on the coast and stayed with me and my family, him and his lady at the time, Brenda, and reconnecting with him, it's just been awesome. Yeah.
Combo, corner.
Boom! Now,
that's how she's done, Roberto.
Well, we talked a bit about some of my influences and things and guest spots that really were impactful. What about for yourself, Mr. Handford?
Oh, well, honestly, you know, 25 years in, it's every interaction, every relationship, every tattoo I've ever collected has been a part of adding a little piece of that to the recipe. So, you know, it really like starting out, it was just James, Tex, Todd, Kevin, and myself working at Tattoo Zoo in Victoria. So really we were young, it was like the blind leading the blind. We didn't really have influences, most of us were self-taught. And really early on, only a few months into tattooing, James had gone out to Calgary, done a guest spot with Little Sarge at Little Sarge's Fine Line. So I went out and joined him and did my first guest spot there. You know, it was intimidating, only being 3 months in, working with a biker.
Not know what we're doing.
Walls filled with like Sailor Jerry Swallow work. It was my first introduction to him. Pre-Government Street, pre-Chris David, pre-Jamer, you know? So even that in itself was inspiring. You know, from there, like I was lucky, you know, I went home from that trip only to get fired. But I had such a good time, like moving back to Calgary. Like James had mentioned, he got a job at Smiling Buddha, and he mentioned, oh, there's a shop on 17th with Kanji in the window that's hiring, and that turned out to be the very first location for Bushido. And I met with Doug Fink and his partner then, Sean Ayers, in the Lion's Den restaurant on 17th in Calgary, and just had lunch with them, and they were generous and friendly, and they like gave me an opportunity. I tattooed my friend Paulo in front of them, you know, like super shitty, you know, bent microphone because he's into being an MC, but it was enough to get me the job, and that's like, was my first full-time job after my apprenticeship. You know, and like early on, that was only around the year 2000. Even from there, we started traveling. I went down to New York, collected from Joe Capobianco at Color Box, and it was him and Corey Kruger. Went to New York adorned, and that was just pure magic. It was, you know, Scott Harrison, Troy Denning,
Wow.
Chris Garver, Chris O'Donnell, and Chris O'Donnell had a cancellation, so a walk-in of a Capella. Checked out the Lower East Side in New York, and like shit, I was so young, so green, but still, even every one of those guys didn't give me attitude. They let me watch them tattoo, hung around and talked tattoos while I got tattooed. That was the first time I saw someone dip into pigment and mix it like paint.
Right.
You know, so
Cap
for
to
me,
cap kind of thing?
every experience taught me something new, and I'm glad that I was able to like put my anxiety aside and my nerves and just do it. And I think for me, that just put a seed in me that I just continued to do that through the last 20 years.
How do you place the importance of guest spotting?
Well, for me, like early on, I think it was super important, you know, like I did guest spots with Sean Treble and Jared Clarkson in Regina, Saskatchewan. I did a guest spot at Sacred Heart. Like, try working beside Steve Moore when you're 3 years in. You know, it's like a little nerve-wracking. But it also opened the door, like we started my sleeve at the time. I think for me, you know, like these experiences have led to like lifelong relationships with people like you. Peers I admire, peers I wanted to emulate early on, but it's grown into so much more, you know? Just fortunate.
You mentioned earlier Jamer. I should mention I probably didn't dwell on that long enough that in Nanaimo we idolized the Government Street guys, and Jamer the most of all. He was an influence on me early on, and just his personality was an influence, you know. R.I.P.
Yeah, 100%. At my private studio at home, I have like, it's right by the door is a large Jamer original still framed to this day, you know. Never far from my thoughts, you know. Yeah. Every guest spot, every convention, every trip to collect a tattoo, I grew tenfold as an artist for each one. Some people, it doesn't even have to be artistically. It takes something like time management, an approach to a consultation, little things that all become a part of your way of doing things, your process. And you know, everyone talks these days about gatekeeping. To some extent, to me, it's kind of bullshit. Because I didn't experience any of that. I experienced awesome people at every turn.
Yeah, every guest spot I did, they were generous and welcoming, and were eager to learn from what I might have to.
Yeah, and it continues to this day, in my opinion. You know, maybe things are different in America, but it wasn't when I visited.
I've never experienced it myself. Maybe because I'm a white male or whatever, but
yeah.
But I put myself in those positions myself. I got out there. You kind of get rejected in some ways. But you got to earn your way in sometimes.
Yeah, but gatekeepers, as if. Early on, I was on Reed Street. It was a forum of all the tattooers openly sharing all information. That was in 1999 and 2000, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't people locking us out, it was people bringing us in and sharing information.
Yeah.
True.
Most of all, I'm grateful for my friends and the relationships I've formed.
Meeting the Skull and Sword guys, like I value the friendships more than the tattoo experience out of that, you know, like guys like Henry and Grime and Andre and everybody there, you know, and then the Seven Sun crew and stuff, like that's the stuff I take away.
You guys are...
Rob, if you were to give advice to a young tattooer, what would it be?
Artistically.
In
that what you asked?
any way.
Just advice to man. Draw, yeah, that's an easy one. Always draw. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd say work in other mediums outside of tattooing.
Yeah. Don't have tattooing, like, there's this idea that you have to, I love tattooing so much, that's all I think about and all I do all day, and I stay at the shop. No, do other things. Have other things in your life.
Yeah.
You know, eventually you're gonna get too old for this, or people are gonna not care anymore what you're doing, and you're gonna have nothing. Have other things in your life to,
Yeah, it runs out after a while.
Yeah, time management I think is important. Stretching, doing something to like counteract the long-term effects of tattooing is probably wise, you know? Takes its toll on you mentally and physically. It's the only joke I got.
Yeah, time management. But for me, I don't think time management was a problem. And I had kids before I started tattooing.
Yeah.
Tattooed lots.
You didn't ever have a problem balancing that, family or anything else? You just always prioritized it through every morning?
It was my job.
Yeah.
And I didn't have this job before. I don't think I ever got tired or burnt out. Not yet, anyways.
I've been burnt out a few times later in the career. Like I had enough energy and momentum earlier on, but just to try to stay interested in pushing and to stay feeling good about what I'm doing has gotten harder as I've gotten older personally.
Yeah, me too.
Feeling relevant and feeling like I'm not just beefing it, you know, and it gets harder and harder for me, but that's my experience. I also don't, you never stop, but I hit the brakes sometimes and don't. Nice shot, Richard.
Thanks.
Well played.
Okay.
Beef
God damn it, just like my dragons. Blow it at the end.
I am the champion, my friend.
Good game, Robert.
Another round. We're here with another mini chapter, sub-chapter of the pool room consultation with my friend Sean Cushnie.
I've been tattooing in Winnipeg since 2007, which makes that 17 years. I've only tattooed full-time in Winnipeg.
Your early influences in that city?
Definitely Kurt Wiscombe.
Yeah.
For day one, Kurt Wiscombe. I think anyone from that time and maybe a little later, definitely Kurt Wiscombe. He's the guy that set the bar where we're all trying to reach. And
You'd have to be under a rock not to.
I would think so.
Yeah, Kurt for sure. You went to Capella, but you didn't start there.
I moved to Capella, I think I was about 7 years in. And I kind of was watching, taking notes of the artists that were at Capella early on. And they really kind of had, to me at the time, they had like a nice little group of artists that seemed inspired. And I kind of wanted to be a part of that. So I kind of had that on my radar, like maybe one day, keep doing things right, you know? I might, make myself like undeniable you know, where he couldn't say no, or, you know, so some lanes could open up for myself.
Yeah, and you were close with Mike Burrito. You guys kind of came up in the same biker shop, if I know my lingo, my skills properly.
Yeah, I met him. We're college brats. We both took graphic design, and I noticed he had a particular talent as far as like his style of illustration. I was really I don't know, twisted his arm to get into tattooing. I kind of needed someone like myself to maybe, I don't know, stay afloat.
Yeah,
early on. I mean,
you guys were.
There's a lot of pressure early on.
A couple of young guys that love to draw and
100%,
pretty natural match.
And I had a little bit of a rapport with him too, so tattooing wasn't nearly as saturated back then, you know.
But you made it to the big leagues, you joined the Capella crew, and you were a huge influence in addition to that team, I would say, from a guy standing on the outside, adding a guy your illustrative prowess to that crew was big for both ends of things, I would say.
It was good for all of us. Like I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to contribute and be part of the team, and I don't know, I wanted to grow, and I kind of wanted to be a part of a little tattoo family where they hopefully would have my back, I'd have theirs.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, I kind of had a good hunch about it, and things kind of worked out like really well. So I think I got some decent instincts.
Yeah.
It's like they, at that time, it was like a bunch of shops that felt like teams working together.
Yeah.
And Deadly was one of them.
Yeah.
Like even before Capella, I saw Deadly too as like, I would love to be a part of something like that. And then once I started further educating myself on Canadian tattooing, that's when I learned about Dutchman and that group. And like, I think around the time when I found out about that, like my favorite group of tattooers at Dutchman, that was probably already dissolved.
Yeah,
but
same,
I still like
same. I
romanticize that idea. Like,
yeah. Oh, hello. I can't remember exactly when I met you, but I feel like I might have, for some reason, hit my stride, and you were still, you seemed like a hungry young, you are younger than me, you're probably 10 years younger than me, but you seemed like a hungry young guy and were complimentary to me, and I had the fortune of seeing you going from that guy going around talking to guys, because you were great at approaching the people you looked up to, being complimentary, asking for advice. I feel like you were good at that.
I think by the time you met me, I was getting better at that, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that was hard.
At first, being around Rich, definitely seeing him, be a social butterfly and all the wonders that kind of brings. Hey man, they're just regular folk, and like being in that group, and then we started getting like a little bit of it, like some notoriety. So that I found like everyone was really welcoming. After that defeat to the hands of Rob Noseworthy, I'm gonna watch these guys duel it out. Two of my close friends in tattooing, Anthony Tex.
What's up?
And on the left-hand side here, Mr. Rob Noseworthy.
Undefeated
this afternoon. Kind of shot myself in the foot with the last game there. But you're welcome.
Rack them up.
All right.
Anthony, you've always seemed like a kid to me, but you're actually a grown man now. Not a lot of listeners might know that.
The beards,
You do have a thicker beard than most Middle Eastern men. So how did you get into tattooing?
I knew this guy named James Tex.
This may be a little obvious.
Knew this guy named James Tex. I was in high school, and I was actually supposed to go to school for engineering. But when I got my acceptance, as when I approached James, it was about mid-grade 12, went up to him and asked, what if? And then he was like, yeah, I think that's a good plan, but it's not going to be hard, it's not going to be easier. And anyway, and kick your ass in some way,
Did you get cold feet? Like you got accepted?
Well, I didn't. Also, I knew who my dad was in a sense because I also had teachers that knew who James was, and which is kind of weird in some way. But I also
Oh, school teachers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even
yeah,
like
yeah.
my sister Alexandra, she's had that too, which is kind of crazy. No, I didn't know like what Debbie was. Oh, yeah, like that's not sure what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Just my dad does really cool tattoos. So when I actually started my apprenticeship, him having clients coming from Australia, like Dean Carlisle, and people from far, I was like, oh shit, we're doing some. This is some crazy stuff. Then made me realize like, okay, it's fucking go, you know.
Your dad taught you to play pool. Huh. Great. You obviously got your start at Deadly.
Yeah.
You have worked there. You've got to be thinking of leaving at this point.
So actually, I did a little stint at Bushido's. Doug Fink owns the shop.
Yes, right.
That's right. Because
He sends you off to somewhere. You gotta earn your chops,
of
right?
course, well, Deadly was always known for the bigger pieces and stuff like that. So starting out, no one should be doing that. You know, you got to learn the technicalities, even just the client, communicative skills. There's so many aspects to tattooing that I think is important. So that really, I appreciate Doug so much for that.
Yeah.
And then then just kind of went from there.
Well, you had obvious pressures right off the hop, but then also having, I'm gonna guess, clients of James that he's very busy, but were willing to let you do whatever the hell you wanted right off the hop, I'm guessing.
There was definitely some pieces that shouldn't have done or should have started, but again, you needed to go in those and learn the rights and wrongs and all that kind of stuff.
Everybody's got those.
Yeah. Remember my first trade started it first year, finished it like 4 years later, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So 4 years, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like you started tattooing right when I kind of started my back piece, I think. Like shortly thereafter, you were
I remember,
front desk guy.
Yeah. Skinny.
So I kind of
What year? Did you already mention the year?
So 2010 is when I started my
Okay.
apprenticeship. Yeah, so I think you came in beginning
Started
or end of
14.
No, beginning of 2009.
10 years.
I think that's what it was.
You just about got the same experience we do.
But then also, I was helping James out with conventions when I was a kid, almost like how Ryan Halter and his boy and other people as well. So I was, this 12-year-old kid helping out Prince,
Yeah.
on D and all that weird stuff. But again, also having people stay over at my house, like I've known Rich Champion since I was 6 years old.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Lucky.
But James has given me, so many opportunities and the ability to see every part of tattooing. And,
Yeah. Some people might see that as fortunate, but the good news is if you brought in as well for yourself every bit as much to the table as he's offered. Like you've really, from an outside point of view, you've sort of, I don't know, how do you express that?
Stepped out of the shadow.
Stepped up to it and even exceeded any.
I think
anything.
for some of us seeing you get into it, it's seen from the outside looking in, a very enviable position. But
Right.
the closer I've gone to
I don't
it
know.
and knowing you guys,
That could be
I realize that's somewhat of an unenviable position because, when you would come to Capella, you were kicking ass. You were, the hours I felt like you put the pressure on yourself. Like, I think I even had conversations with you back then, like, hey, man, but I'm not in a position to say anything like that. Like, hey, man, you're working your ass off. Like, slow down.
It's like I know we talked about guest spots and stuff like that. Again, you talk about all that's crazy important. Which Powell was my first ever guest spot, and knowing Rich, all this kind of stuff, looking up to him, I kind of felt like I was like, okay, this is important. I gotta work super hard here, which hopefully it came off as. But yeah, I was nerve-wracking.
Right.
Nerve-wracking. Because at the time it was obviously you, Dan, Tyler, Ruben, obviously Rich, and endless amounts of people. You can go down with Craig even too. Like all those people I do look up to. It's
Yeah, I think it's just that you know, the little that career, you know, envy, jealousy. I don't know, but I think that when you started, I think a lot of people were like looking at your stuff, kind of like.
Oh, I got that.
But it's like, man, he's only a couple months in.
You know what it is though? I use that to like,
100%
as energy.
Yes.
So, like,
I know I wouldn't have wanted people looking at my work right away from day one.
Whoa,
You
man.
know, like examining how this is gonna go. Like, please, no. I don't know about that today, never mind. Yeah.
No, but I think, you know.
But maybe that drove you, right?
Oh, that fired my ass immensely.
Yeah.
But again, you know, W was always known to have really great guest artists. You know, Steve Moore to,
Yeah.
you know, Simon Balaguski, Dada from Montreal to G. Cerro,
Yeah.
whoever. And I got
I
to
notice my name doesn't come to your guys' lips very easily.
because I was going in order. No, because that's how I got tattooed by you. Was you know, you
I'm
did a
kidding.
guest
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay. This has got to be about me as well.
So Anthony, now with all you've accomplished, like you've been tattooing for how long now?
Almost 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
30
funny because I felt like I had so many years of tattooing prior to you getting in, and the reality was that
You were
4 or 5.
You've been a part of most of it. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
most of it,
sure.
So like, if not the majority.
But so, what do you like with all that you've accomplished? What else do you have like here? You know, what are you looking to do now? Like, what's the next 5 years looking like?
I'm just starting to get like the hang of tattoo.
The hang of it?
You
Yeah.
know, like, you know, doing those bigger pieces. I feel like saturations are kind of there. Hanging around my peers, you know, like being, you know, those talks or, you know, like I'm always the kid. But I feel like I can somehow talk to
Yeah, you're a little different, man.
You're a man, man.
You're responsible. Yeah, you're goddamn man.
Yeah. No, but I think it's just, you know, try to, you know, again, custom pieces always draw, always, you know, promote that, but also try different styles. You know, I'm still having to touch everything. You know,
For someone who's younger than me and less years of tattooing, I guess.
Not much.
You've helped me a lot too, though, especially the last 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate a little whatever the hell we got going on.
But also,
I dig it a lot.
But also, like how you are, you're very
appreciate
honest. So when there's something that they say, you're like, oh, you work on that, you know, I look, like, took that as actual, you know, advice. Some people might not, because like, oh no, like, why don't be so hard on me? But like, everything is, you know, is important, regardless of what people say.
Go me up.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I really do like helping people, and I've been fortunate enough because I'm paying back.
The champ.
The champ.
Again?
What? That's the
This one will be quick.
Wow, beat a guy once and he's like, wants to.
That's the way I am, though.
Yeah.
Does that go for all
Weird.
things?
What's that?
Does that go for everything?
Oh, we're
Pretty much everything now.
Pretty much everything?
It's funny because when I was
Whoa!
younger, I was not competitive. So
Really?
I don't know.
Well, it started. When did that begin? This
Tattooing?
competitive cutthroat streak. That
Well, I think because I was shitty at everything my whole life until I started tattooing. And don't get me wrong, I was so shitty for the first 10 years anyway, so.
I know, I'm wearing it.
No, but we own up to our.
I'm gonna take care of this guy over here.
I didn't know all my faults. Who gives a shit, man?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have the luxuries of what they do today, you know? I just didn't.
Yeah.
So, but I made the best of it and it didn't squander the opportunity. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean,
What am I, open?
nothing yet.
Here you are today, losing to Rob Noseworthy.
Oh, don't get him all
That was
worked
only
up.
once. It was only once.
Oh.
Off the 11.
So, how do you feel that competitive streak has served you?
Well, it's kept me busy, it kept me out of trouble, right? I mean, having kids young, do you have a choice? You know, you gotta provide, you know. If it wasn't tattooing, it wouldn't have been the other jobs I had, so.
Yeah, I personally, just from the outside, again, looking in, getting to know you over the last little while, that competitive streak, I feel like you don't need too much outside inspiration, or you're pretty you're driven.
Yeah, self-driven, but I do still need to be inspired.
Right.
I get inspired by all the young people starting today just as much as I do all the old fogies that have been doing it forever, right?
Gotcha.
Like when Anthony does something really good, I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
step it up, step it up.
Me
son,
too.
Step it up, son.
Fucking Anthony.
Anthony over here.
Throw his itch in my beard.
Yeah.
Oh, nice Kieran.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
Brick.
No, we're all talking in Italian accent.
Listen up.
Oh, one like that. I didn't have enough anyway.
In the corner.
It's a lot of fun to watch you having built your family business. That's obviously your main focus now. You've already achieved most of the things you want to achieve in tattooing, I'm guessing, and other than, well, maybe not, but you've achieved a lot in tattooing. This has been fun to watch this next chapter unfold.
Yeah, I just want to be here for the ride, Still traveling with friends and meeting new friends. I get to tattoo next to my son. My daughter's doing it now. She's starting to travel. She has that bug, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Probably easier to, you think it's easier to have introduced your son into it than your daughter?
It's just a different time. I mean, after you started when there's 500 Jews in the shop, treating them kind of, not bad, but you had to put up with a bit of that.
The hazy stuff,
the
yeah.
hazy stuff. And you had it pretty fucking good because all these guys are actually at his back.
Yes, and at the end of the day, also probably a little fearful of JT's backlash if they took it too far. I would think.
But I never stood in anyone's way. If someone had something to say to
Yeah.
Anthony, or if Anthony was doing something
Oh, nice
wrong
shot.
in the shop, then
Nice shot.
like he's got to learn to do it right, I mean, that was a different time. Alexander didn't really have to do that. I mean, you don't have to clean tubes anymore.
Yeah.
Her job was to clean the
Even
shop.
answering the phone isn't an issue with private, taking your own appointments and.
Our phone rings. It's usually for piercing.
Yeah. Well, you guys get that too?
Oh, yeah.
The whole existence. Oh, nice shot. The whole existence of Black and Blue was answering 90% piercing calls. Like we got in the wrong business.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Piggity Bank.
Knock 6 in.
At least 7 to 10. No, I'm gonna be at.
Oh,
Rob there.
yeah.
Yeah, James, I kind of want to
Check her
ask
out.
you the same question I asked Anthony. Is now kind of like trying to see, like, do you have any, like, what are your plans for the next 5 years? Like, continuing what you're doing right now?
I don't see any difference.
Just different places to visit.
That's all I want to do is
Travel.
If I can work and travel, that's great, of course, because you're going to meet more people.
Mm-hmm.
And continue doing what I'm doing, try to get better at tattooing. If I can't, well, that's on me, but
Right.
hard work is going to determine that, right? I only have so much skill, but really the hard work makes it seem like you have more skill, right? Like someone learning and
Right.
doing the business, they have better work ethic.
I know, I got
It's not hard to
a cheesy little quote, but I think it's true. Like, the separation is in the preparation. And I can
I
tell
know.
who's preparing and who isn't.
White ball 6 gonna hit the
Hold on, what?
white ball's gonna hit the purple ball, and then the white ball's gonna hit the green ball. The ball's gonna go in the corner.
You just tell me if you got it, be honest. Oh, just about. I know a lot of people look at James Tex, and I think that's a talented guy. And I don't disagree, but what I think what you really are is a hard-working guy. And I think you started out the same place as we all did. I've seen your early stuff. You started out at the same place we all did, but you've outworked all of us and you've gotten there through sheer hard work, not through talent. and you maybe have that. Is there an it factor, a talent thing under a talented artist? I used to think there was. I used to think you were born with it, but since starting tattooing, I now know that's false. I know countless people who couldn't draw anything and worked hard and are now amazing artists. Like, you can train that shit, and I was lucky. I found it came easy to me. Not that I was a dynamo, but like I could always replicate what I saw. You know. Then again, that's a bit of a crutch for me, is I can reproduce, but creating is the hard part. Maybe it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
Anyways, my point being, I see you as, now knowing you as not being talented as much as you are the hardest working man in
I had to
showbiz.
train myself to be.
James Brown.
Hot tub! Get hot tub!
It's true. First one at the show, set up, stencil on, right? James and Anthony.
Oh, so close.
Hard work pays off.
Combination.
I think so.
Well, we got something booked to kind of lights a fire.
Oh, yeah.
To get over there, get started. You know what I mean?
One last chance. I gotta make it fucking count. That is very tough, even for JT.
I still gotta call it here. I don't know. There's no point.
What are you doing?
Hey James, is there anything you would love to tattoo that you have not been approached yet to do?
You know what? I'd love to start doing portraits.
Really?
Yeah, why
What
not?
the fuck? Yeah.
Is it hard? You
I don't do them much anymore.
Yeah, you
I can kill a mean portrait every once in a while.
I can do portrait, yeah. Every once in a while I think, fuck, I want to do portraits because, you know, the drawing's done for the
You
day.
wake up and-
Cruise, yeah, right on. Oh, wake up, nice relaxed morning, you know, print your stencil. But every time I do it, I'm like, oh fuck, this is hard.
It's a different It's
There's a
definitely-
talent here that reproducing bang on it.
There it
I'm not
is.
going to discredit that. People who do
Yeah.
it quite well.
It's definitely a different muscle.
It doesn't do anything for me creatively, and it
No.
doesn't, looking at a portrait tattoo doesn't do anything for me creatively, but seeing how good these people are at producing the tattoo.
But if you learn that craft and apply it to the illustrative part of tattooing, or whatever style,
Yeah.
it's going to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think definitely for me, like coming up in the era that I came up in, where you had to do different things like that, that definitely, like, yeah, it gives you technical, I don't know, I don't want to say prowess, but it gives you a skill set that could parlay itself into other genres.
Yeah.
Because you're able to shade real smooth and learn how to do tight details without destroying the skin.
I really love tattooers that are well versed in everything. It's
Me
just
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
They may not be the best at everything, but they're fucking almost there at everything. That's going to help you.
Yeah, you had to be.
I don't like the one trick pony kind of a thing, you know? And I'm not a fan of tracing. That's all it does.
Not a fan of tracing either. We know
Not a
that.
fan, you heard it here first, everybody.
You guys
Ladies and
would be
viewers
doing-
around the world, you heard it here first.
We do. Oh, no.
Oh, too bad. So sad, although it's not easy from here. Please, Lord, let this happen, please.
Yeah, like, yeah, you know what, like, yeah, he's right. Like, Jesse, like, let's give a little shout out to my boy Jesse Young. Because, yeah, there was a time, like, I'd get, like, insecure because I would see other tattooers really making a name for themselves with their one particular brand of tattooing. And I could always lean on looking at Jesse Young stuff and I could be like, I'm kind of more like that. You know, like, little, does many of these tattoo styles really well. What's going on?
I don't know what I've done to deserve this.
New career for Noseworthy here. Oh, you fuck it up.
Fuck it up! Yeah!
I get it. Well,
Twice in one day, folks.
Canadian Musketeers. Canadiensies, right? Somehow Canadiensies. Sweet. So yeah, we're down at
Avengers
the,
Unite.
What's that?
Avengers Unite.
Avengers Unite. What did you guys think of the Costa Rica convention?
Beautiful.
It was pretty awesome.
Good time, yeah.
Great.
Beautiful.
I think everyone was super welcoming and nice and like just honest, good people.
Yeah, the people were the stars of the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, the quality of work here in Costa Rica was I don't know why, but surprisingly very high.
Yeah, there was
You
some
know?
really solid just tattoos walking around that you saw, like just on people, clients. Like,
Great taste in tattoos.
yeah, you didn't see
Lots
a lot
of really good Asian influence artwork.
For people that see a ton of sun as we're experiencing in it with our pink shade of pink here, their tattoos look fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think they'd be a little faded. But
Super clear, beautiful skin. Yeah.
And we don't know why.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, why?
yeah, I think the Japanese thing down here is pretty strong. There's like its own style.
Illustrative Japanese.
Illustrative,
Yeah,
very cool.
very, very cool.
I mean, all the styles are down here, and they're all seem to be killing in their own way. But from what we see and what we pay attention to, for most of us, we pay attention to the illustrative Japanese stuff, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome, man.
Costa Rica's on the map.
Yeah, no doubt.
Plagiarism.
Let's start with that. Let's start with that one.
Plagiarism. Numbing creams.
Get right into
Rotary
it.
versus coil. Who knows? So many hot topics out there that we discuss in our shops on a daily basis. You know, some controversial. Some people have strong opinions on both sides of most of it. But yeah, I think plagiarism is a good place to start. You know, where like it seems to be okay to reproduce or replicate photography, art from artists that are dead or classic. But then it becomes a whole new topic when it's a contemporary artist or peer.
Yeah, there's kind of a cutoff point too where you're inspired by something and then you're just straight ripping it. Like just
Yeah.
kind of some of it is a compliment, you know, if it's similar, and then some of it seems like it's just a knockoff.
It's an
of course,
insult.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it crosses the
It's an
line
insult.
when you're
Just- I don't
taking
know what
hints
that
of other
cutoff
people's
is,
stuff,
but-
but
When you're tracing something, that's the cutoff. And you owe that artist, you should send him a check in the mail
Oh, if you're tracing it, yeah, that's
for the lack of time that you had to draw it.
Yeah. What about when it's like a guy like Stace, for instance, who's got such a unique style? There's a lot of people that's looking along like
Big
Stace's
time.
stuff.
yeah.
You know who you are.
yeah, but they're not.
He created that.
Yeah, it is quite,
It's
quite
not like
unique.
me or some of us where we're doing Japanese, we're doing it our way. We didn't create Japanese, but Stace created a lot.
Yeah, he's got his own.
very
Yeah, he's got his
unique thing.
particular vision.
You know, like I think if someone looks like they've also been doing a little bit of borrowing, you know, maybe that eases the pressure a little bit. But when someone's just coming out of outer space with it,
Yeah, he's.
I got a bit more problem with it, I think.
I would be, you know, I can't speak for him, but like, it seems like so much of his personality goes into that. I
Yeah,
would be pretty offended, you know, because you know where it
yeah.
He's like a
That's
mad
his
scientist
thing.
in the way that he thinks.
It's
and,
nothing
like,
new though. You know how
No.
many
Oh, yeah.
how many Marcus Pacheco clients were doing Marcus Pacheco style work?
Yeah.
How many Steve Moore clients are
Sure.
doing Steve Moore style
Yeah.
work?
I bet I'm guilty of having some grime looking stuff when the grime book came out, you know?
Yeah.
Me too, probably.
But that's what I mean by being inspired by something is one
Yeah.
thing, but then if you're just ripping
You're not jacking it and
No.
putting
No.
some tracing
Yeah.
paper over
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
making
I'm sure
it look just
Taking
like
some
it.
tricks and applying it to your own work.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different thing.
Or
Yeah.
buying someone's print.
Trying to get it to look as close
Right?
as that
Buying
as
someone's
possible.
prints, blowing it up and doing a leg sleeve really well.
Yeah.
Calling yourself a master. It's jacked.
and winning awards for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, that
well,
sounds like a juicy one. I'm not sure I know the backstory, but
Oh, that's one of mine.
We're a no bad names on
yeah,
the
yeah. I'm not saying you need to say. I just
Even when it's
am
done,
intrigued.
It's done I think it's done in a good way. In a way, you know, it just hurts sometimes, right? But
Yeah.
that's the way it is. That's okay.
Like really,
Yeah.
if you want a James Tex tattoo, get fucking tattooed by James Tex.
Yeah,
It's a no-brainer.
yeah. You get jacked a lot. You
might
get
fly to
jacked.
Calgary and you
Is
won't
it
be
called
there,
jacked
but-
off or is it not?
You get
That-
jacked off.
They jacked off a lot.
Yeah, because I think we're all doing the same subject matter. It's just how you do it. It's the style, right? Like we all kind of do dragons and, you know, tigers and stuff. So it's more what differentiates people is just how you do it. You know? That's
Yeah, I
not-
think like taking the frosting, like little nuances, because I've definitely taken from this gentleman, that gentleman for sure, and probably you too, Shane.
yeah, same.
But
Sucks to be you two.
Yeah, not me or Rich, though. It's fine.
Has been.
Just unwilling to admit that on camera.
And yeah, like if you're friends with the artist or whatever, I don't think that's an uncool thing. It's like a.
Also, I've never looked at
Some
your
respect.
dragons and thought, too much. You know, Shane or Sean.
Sean.
I've never thought, hey, never,
Too much,
never,
too
never
much of
once.
what?
Yeah, never.
Yeah, well,
once,
that's.
yeah.
I do remember like this was years ago. I did a Hanya and I tattooed it. The drawing, I was like, I might be infringing or encroaching, one or the other, on Noseworthy's thing. And I think it was right after I got tattooed, maybe within a year after this. And I think I reached out to you because I got real self-conscious after I posted it. Never did actually finish the tattoo, but I hit you up like, hey man, did I kind of like, is it too much like your
I vaguely
thing?
remember that, yeah.
And you're like, no. And now like looking back at that tattoo, I think it doesn't really look like your stuff, but I think it was like some of the brushstrokey calligraphic line kind of thing, but
We get paranoid about that.
Yes, yeah.
And the world hasn't incorporated Grimes' little hook fucking.
Hook cheek.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
or.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, on the skulls? Oh yeah.
People,
Oh, I definitely
yeah.
did that.
all done that.
The teeth?
You got to do
Yeah,
that.
I think so. Yeah.
You got to do that, I think, a little bit just to get like, you know, get it in, and then you after a little while like, yeah, that isn't me, or something. You try a little thing, and then after a while you're like,
Do you try and like when you're drawing and stuff, do you cultivate like what's my trick gonna be? Like when Grime figured out that hook on the skull, that became his thing, and then like, do you guys consciously
One of
try and,
the-
like,
one of-
think
one of
your
many
own
things.
tricks? Or like this is my signature move, and
I don't think I'd label it that way personally. I think I just find a move and it just kind of like, I like that.
yeah. And you
But
use
I
it
don't
for a
think of it
while.
as a like, this is going to be my thing or whatever. It's just,
part of your
it's-
recipe.
it just becomes, I like the way that looks, and
Because
my-
people do start to recognize your stuff by those moves a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm not sure I could identify my own moves.
I feel like it's, as someone who admires
Yeah.
your work and been watching you through the years, I see you get into a thing and then move on from it, and
Yeah.
you know, like-
yeah. I used to be real bad for just feeling like I had to change it every time. Like you could never do the same thing twice.
That's sort of why I.
And I've
asked.
eased
Yeah.
on myself a lot, like lately, because like you just can't keep up that pace. Like how many times can you reinvent a subject?
Yeah,
But
you-
also you just get your favorite moves, like you're talking about, and it's like I don't want to change from that because I like that. And
Yeah.
then more and more of those build on your recipe over time, and pretty soon you're cooking the same pancakes. Yeah,
right. So yeah, you get.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
'Cause, yeah, I don't know if there is like a little trick or something I'm doing, I'll use it until I'm kind of bored with it. And I'll
Yeah.
Right.
Try and read
Yeah.
some stuff.
Right.
Totally being there. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like you know, there's only so many ways you can do it. And then, I don't know.
Well, and, you know, I
Keep it
could make an
interesting.
argument for homogenizing some of your tricks too. You know, looking at some of Doug Fink's work, where it doesn't matter if he did the upper arm 12 or 15 years ago and does the lower arm today, it'll still mesh.
It's a
The
system,
entire
right?
style of water hasn't changed.
Right. That's
or
interesting.
clouds,
I do respect that a lot.
you know, where
That's hard to
it
do.
becomes cohesive over time.
I'm not sure I
as
could say the same for myself.
Either
but-
could I.
No,
I'm
me
still
neither.
trying to do that myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to whittle it down now.
I think that maybe from this point on, just because I'm too lazy to try to do it any different anymore. Shit. We'll come back to this in a
I think if
decade.
you have more of an illustrative style or an artist,
Yeah.
that person's gonna try to
Yeah.
maybe not innovate, but change your shit on a daily basis.
Yeah,
and then
try
sometimes
new
you
things.
you try things and you're like, nope, and then you go back to what
Yeah,
was working.
yeah.
That's just the way it is. If you're more traditional and classic, and you want to hit that note every time from the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like Dave C, solid, been doing
Yeah. It's a lot of Dave C's work. I couldn't tell you even, and actually in the skin, the tattoo could be 15 years old or yesterday, and it looks as good and as consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to find in artists today.
Yeah. Yeah. Committed to that vision.
I do respect that they're thinking pretty long term. They're like, 10 years
Totally.
my stuff's gonna look the same, you know.
Well,
this is my
Totally.
That's actually tattooing. It's not
yeah,
just drawing.
which I think you should.
Yeah,
think that
And also having to fight like all maybe your artistic urges to like spice it up. Like you're thinking, yeah, a long-term goal is in mind where you're like, yeah, well, I kind of want to try that thing, but I know I'm on this journey or this path I'm on, and I don't want to do that. That would probably be really difficult.
How many half sleeves have you turned into a sleeve years later?
Yeah.
Or 3/4 sleeves into full sleeves.
It's challenging.
You know?
Yeah.
People do continue to collect from you over the years, and as you get into it longer, like, you know, Rob, James, and myself, once you've been tattooing people for, you know, 15, 20 years, you're not only tattooing them, you're tattooing their families, their kids, you're adding on to old work, continuing it over time. Many of these people never had the intention of a bodysuit or large-scale work, but it does become that often over time as your relationship develops.
Yeah, I've got a lot. I got a few clients that they have pretty much a suit now, but it started from the beginning of my career, and it's come to today. It's taken that long, and it's interesting.
It's come to a point now I just don't do half sleeves because the intent of like they're probably going to end up doing that. So obviously talking through a consultation standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never even get asked for that.
Yeah, I don't anymore either, really.
Yeah.
It's a sleeve.
And if they did, I'd hopefully point them in the right direction to not do
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But anyways, each their own, right?
I usually lay on the if they're thinking of ever doing the whole arm, just do it now. Yeah, don't make me try to fill that 4 inches at the bottom with something that's going to look good.
All right, numbing creams or sprays.
Yeah.
Or both.
Okay.
I'm a Bactine guy. I think Bactine's fine.
The winner for
That's
sure.
it.
Right?
That's
Bactine's a winner.
Yeah, that's pretty mellow, I think. But
What
some
if a
of
client
the-
comes in with cream on them?
Depends what it is. Some of those gel ones I really don't like. Like just
But
getting
dude,
it off
dude-
and
I think-
stuff.
Well, I think for me, through a consultation again, I tell them don't come in with numbing cream on because if they do, it also affects how I tattoo, how it goes. So kind of say, hey, like I'm not going to tattoo you if you come in with that. To me though, that's
So say if they do come in the shop with it on,
yeah, I'm not going to tattoo you.
so lose a deposit or something?
That's
Or?
how I approach in the consultation.
Yeah.
If you do that,
I know, I
it's
gotta
all within
probably
there,
start
it's been
doing
out,
that.
It's been said. It's all
Yeah.
agreement. So
It's a big eye roll for us.
It's a good
Again,
thing.
It makes my job harder. It might make the person's job, getting tattooed easier, but that tattoo's not going to be
I
what
don't think it makes it easier, man.
No, it doesn't.
It makes it easier for about 2 hours.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's hell on earth.
Yeah.
It seems to
Yeah.
all catch up to them.
We all don't want to feel pain, though.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I've been
all
on.
for the, like people being comfortable. I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm not like a it has
Yeah.
to hurt kind of guy.
See,
But
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm fine with my clients using it.
I have been.
I think you have to
That's okay.
use it responsibly.
Yeah, they're
Like,
using Armor Cane, from Steve Batt in Edmonton. We'll saran like the entire area or do it in sections, so it's not like applied over the entire thing. You'll do it in portions. As you
Yeah.
start, they'll come in with one area ready to tattoo.
Yeah.
I try to, if I were to use anything, apply to a spot that's going to be the killer for them. So if it's like a leg piece, I might go behind the back of the knee, heel area, tattoo around it for a few hours while that's sitting on top, as opposed to them just, because you don't know, they could apply it several hours, not you go with the instructions because, it'll work better if I have it on for 4 hours, even though it says go for 2. And then that could lead to potential health problems.
Yeah. I don't want to feel liable for any problems that they might have.
Yeah.
And odds are they're not. We know
Yeah.
that.
I think there are some.
And there was a
heart
case of someone in
issues
Edmonton.
people can run into with like absorbing that much lidocaine. I think you can.
I had a client pass out before I even started tattooing him.
There's lidocaine poisoning.
Big guy. I'm not going to mention the product. Slathered his whole back with it. 3-hour drive out. Had it on his back the whole time. And a big back. While I'm stenciling it, had him up against the wall. He went out. Standing, eyes open. And it must have been because of the lidocaine.
That happened
Stress
to
can
one
do
of our
that.
friends, our friend tattooers.
And maybe
We mentioned
stress.
names, but the guy passed out and cracked his head open. They had to bring him to the hospital.
Right.
Ended up having lidocaine.
Yeah, luckily that didn't happen, but
So,
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
you're-
odds are that's not, of course, and we're playing the odds, but
Yeah, it's subjective to each person. Like some people could be really, sensitive to it.
I just don't want to use
I've
something
never-
that's actually not approved.
Hey, kids
Yeah,
out
that's
there,
pretty much the base.
we didn't always use this stuff. Back in the day,
I don't
we
think I've
didn't
ever
use
had
this stuff.
anybody come in with it on without my knowledge. Like usually it's like, hey, do you mind if I use this stuff? And I'm honestly, up until now, I've been like, yeah, go for it. It makes the sit better. I want to work 4 hours instead of 2 sometimes, right?
Yeah, and
But
it's comfortable too.
it does go the other way, like you said. 2 hours turns into
Toned
turns
up.
into 2 hours sometimes because it wears off. Yeah.
Yeah. So with the people that you do tattoo with the cream, what's their window? Like how long do they usually? Because it wears off after a while, and then you're just.
Yeah, we're doing like it's large scale projects on like pretty heavily tattooed people that are collectors.
Yeah.
So it's generally 4 to 6 hour sits over the course of a day. They'll come in with an area kind of prepped and ready to go, and I'll apply it in sections as we tattoo.
Oh, okay. So you kind of peel back the
Yep.
saran wrap.
Yeah.
I also think because of the creams, it changes the trajectory of how all of us have been tattooed. Where you go into the session and the first half an hour is the worst because you go from resting heart rate, not feeling pain, to accelerated heart rate, sweating, in pain. And then as it goes on, you kind of settle into it. With the numbing cream, obviously, it's complete opposite. I don't feel anything at all. And then an hour later, I'm starting to feel something.
Tell them how you really feel.
2 hours later, I think my mother's calling me.
Yeah.
I get 4 to 5 hours every day without using
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an excuse.
Sorry for the voices.
You have to be tougher on your clients. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't have
absolutely.
a problem with it. Mine
Yeah.
have great heels. And
I agree. I agree. Like I say, I'm coming around. I think I'm coming back to where you're at.
Sterner way about it.
Yeah, just because it, like you say, it does. And I don't love it. Don't get me like it's a pain. The ink, it's hard to wipe ink off. It's sticky. It's fucking greasy. You can't stretch. It's
Yeah, the
all
texture
that
of the
like
skin
the.
has changed.
And every
that's
product's different than the next too. Like
But I've honestly haven't had it that change the skin for the process all that much. But it's just the the
Yes,
actual
yeah.
tactile
Yeah, like
thing about it that's
Yeah,
hard.
and the
But
fact that they don't even ask, that's just.
yeah.
also, how bad do you really want to get this tattoo?
Yeah.
When you're like you're jumping into something, you want
Yeah.
but I'm not willing to endure any of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds like you don't really want to get that tattoo.
But also when they start using it.
But I already
then
really
they're
did spend a lot of time
wanting to
drawing
use
it,
even more.
and now we've got the lines on, and I want to finish it.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. And there's some pros and cons to it because I like tattooing someone who's like relaxed. When they start checking out on me, I start checking out on them. When they start
Yeah.
making my job more difficult, I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind going home right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then,
I've noticed like talking to people that I've tattooed that use the cream and then they'll try it without. There's more of like a sense of accomplishment that they kind of got through it.
yeah,
Not
100%.
in like a earn it kind of way.
No,
just in like a
You don't think so? Like, they definitely earned it.
yeah, sort of like that. So I don't know. I've heard people say it's more rewarding to just sort of.
Oh, I think so. I don't even know what it's like to like get a tattoo and not have endured it fully.
I'd love that.
Everyone would.
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to use it on my last armpit.
Hey, go right ahead, man. That's a good idea.
After getting tattooed by
your
Junior in my
last
armpit
spot.
for 6 hours.
Last spot.
It's performance art.
So pro back teen. None wrong with the back teen.
All right.
Tried and true.
I digress.
I had a guy give me a gift of like one of those little foamer bottles,
Mm-hmm.
like as a tip. So I put the Bactine in there, and then it turns it into a foam.
I did that
spray
for a
it,
bit
and
too.
Seems
yeah.
to
It actually works better.
Yeah.
Keeps it from running away. It
Yeah.
keeps it on the
You can do
location.
those cool foam reveals. You know.
Oh, never have done one of them.
Gotta get on it.
You ever do any of those, Rich?
Dab my white
Foam reveal? You ever do one of those?
Does that work?
Oh, have we? None of us ever done one?
I've never done it.
Right on, man.
But still on the topic of numbing stuff. Back in the day when I was going to Berlin, Lars would have his pharmacist mix lidocaine into Vaseline and would just use it as like
Is it really doing anything when it's on that short a time though? Like,
A little bit, right?
wipe. Now it's gone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
oh, you
But you're constantly applying it, right? So it's probably getting a little dose of lidocaine every
Maybe.
little bit. I don't know. I
Some
don't
of
know.
that could be like a placebo thing too.
Yeah.
People think
100%.
you're- Like I knew a guy who just had a vacuum bottle full of water.
Oh
He
yeah.
had that for a while.
And man, was it soothing.
People were
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, game changer."
Yeah, like that much that's just
Ah.
There is a placebo part of it too.
You could just tell clients your grease is,
Magical.
lidocaine. Yeah.
yeah.
Placebo's a big thing, what people think
Yeah.
makes the difference. Like, I'm not going to mention
that'll-
names, but I was doing a back piece with one machine, and that person said, "Oh, that machine hurts, can you use this machine?" And I set up the other machine, but I didn't use it. I still use my machine that I like, because I'm fucking tattooing. Yeah. And
in
they're
their
like,
head,
"Oh,
they're-
that's way better."
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then
I
I'm
think
like,
that
"This
goes
is
a long
the same
way.
fucking machine."
Did you tell them at the end or?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Was it me?
Shut the fuck up.
Was it me who did it?
oh, here's the machine.
No,
you just do the work.
Oh, that's much better right there.
I think all that depends on your, like, whoever's getting tattooed by you, like, whatever their mindset is coming in. You know, some people show up and they're like, "Oh, fuck, all right, let's go." And then they never sit as well as if somebody's like, I don't know, just more positive in their mind.
I like that look on them, that they're like a little spooked. They're serious, like they have a serious impending doom. Because I know, like, those ones are going to be the ones that sit pretty good. Because they know what they're in for. They're not coming in willy-nilly.
Deaky.
some serious tattoos. Yeah,
I don't know.
The prep in the car in the parking lot. No. But yeah, I don't know. I think with the numbing, it takes away that sense of like accomplishment. Like you sat through it, you handled the pain.
Yeah.
I don't know. The cream kind of takes that away, I think. But if you're more comfortable, it's a toss-up. So, yeah.
I think just that mindset too is like if you're one of those types that like from the get-go you wanted the easy way out, you're probably gonna approach every session like that, like whether that entails less hours, maybe they don't come as frequently. I don't know. I worry about those type of clients.
Yeah, I suppose if somebody sits like really frequently too, that's a lot of lidocaine going in there.
Interesting.
So,
And of
I'm
course,
not a
when,
doctor, but I don't know if that's an issue. Could be.
and when you start using it, that client's gonna use it every time after that,
Yeah.
because they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm hooked. It was easier, whatever the hell it means."
And the stuff's not
Which
cheap.
is
No, it's
Yeah.
not cheap.
So they're adding another couple $100 onto the tattoo. Yeah.
just good tattoos.
So a controversial subject. Some are against it and some are for it.
I think if it works for you, it slows
just-
me down too much. I don't like
Yeah.
it with the gooey kind of shit. But
I like being efficient when I tattoo.
Yeah.
It slows me down. Like this weekend, my client that did the back, he
was-
didn't have any tricks up his sleeve except for the right mind frame.
he just grinded
Oh,
that
boy.
out.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
was,
And then he gets more done. If I was battling with creams and breaks.
Right.
and he's a tattooer? The guy you
Yes.
did the back on?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean about maybe that mindset. Because I went and talked to him after and I was like, "How are you? Like, are you good?" And he's like, "Yeah, pretty good." Like he just, I don't know,
Afterwards, he was
committed in his
normal. He
head
wasn't
and
burnt out.
yeah.
Still doing shit.
2 days. That's
6 hours, 2 days. Like, all of it.
yeah. He just had it locked in. I don't know. That was cool. Because it's a lot at a convention too. Like people are walking around and there's so much distractions.
That alone is exhausting for the client or
Yeah.
whoever. So that's just even.
And you're
crazy.
getting slammed on.
Marco at Winnipeg,
Awesome.
neck to knees,
Oh, crazy!
Right.
not a thing, just laid there and
Sat there and took it.
yeah, he'd have gone longer than we would.
Yeah.
We wanted to quit before he did.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I
maybe
think
not.
if we would have added creams in the middle of that,
Yeah,
I don't know.
he didn't need it though. That's
No,
some
he did-
people. It's
he
like
did phenomenally well.
yeah,
I'm sure there'll be some new thing that comes along, some magical.
There are.
Anesthesia.
It'll be oral.
Tattooed
Yeah.
by 8 people all day.
I think it's gonna be an oral thing.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
crazy
those
expensive.
people-
Yeah.
Like it'll never be cheap to bring in an anesthesiologist
Oh my
into
God.
the
They're
shop.
some of the highest paid people in hospitals, right?
Yeah, well, I think they're
So they.
medical professionals. Yeah, and you're privately hiring them. Yeah,
So what are people paying for that? Like on top.
Gotta
of
be a
the
celebrity.
lots.
Gotta
Yeah.
have musicians,
Hundreds of dollars
they're
an
not-
hour, I would
professional
think. Yeah,
athletes.
They're well off in a way.
yeah. The money's not the issue for those
Yeah.
people.
I get it.
By the way,
The thinking.
How goofy does that look too when you are a rapper or some shit, and then you're like, here I am, I'm out because I'm such a bitch. I can't get tattooed, but I'm getting tattooed by 6 dudes all at once. You look like a fucking dummy.
Well, you get back to back
Especially when you take the
games on your back, right?
opportunity to
Pardon me?
dry hump him while he's out.
Yeah. Sorry, what's that, Rich?
You did back-to-back days on your back. With
Several times, and on my front. And like, I'm not the toughest guy in the world, and I never like, rarely did I ever do the first little while. 5, like 6, 5. I found my groove was like 4, 2 4-hour sessions back to back. I could endure them. And some other, when you're finishing it, maybe extended. Like the last one with Steve was like close to 7, probably 6.5. But
Yeesh.
yeah, I don't know.
I think you can get that kind of time out of clients if you don't take a lot of breaks.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Continuous 6 hours.
Yes.
If you're stopping and starting, I don't know. I think that's 10 times worse.
Yeah, I don't imagine too many guys doing what James
Half an hour in on a session, the guy wants to go for a smoke.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
gonna be a brutal day.
Oh yeah.
Because then you come back in and you have to kind of get into that space.
I think just even someone on the outside looking in, if they're seeing the type of how much you're able to get done in a session, he don't smoke cigarettes.
I got a good one for maybe the most unlikely when I met Anthony for the first time. It was Calgary. I hadn't met any of, I'd known Rich, I think, but I was there with Steve, and across from us, a little ways away at Calgary Convention was the Deadly booth. And I was shy because I was fairly new to the convention circuit and things like that. But I eventually went over at one point to get a T-shirt, and there was a young whip in there standing there, and you were the only one in the booth because I think there was a competition. I think you were doing like a draw it on live.
That was the Samurai, Zombie Samurai.
Yeah, Zombie Samurai year. Yeah.
Totally.
Anyways, you were there, and I sort of came, I get a T-shirt and introduced myself, and you're like, oh yeah, my name's Anthony Tex. I kind of threw the name on there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah.
It's a scrawny, probably 18-year-old.
But you were a teenager at least, totally. and I thought that was super funny. Yeah, super cute.
No, but yeah, we go way back. 26 years with Rich. I guess me, James, and Rich,
Yeah.
Or like Uncle Rich to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a lifetime ago.
It's crazy.
What about
man.
you guys? James and Rich, when did
26 years, pretty much. Just done
99,
there.
started out at Tattoo Zoo together, gluing needles on bars and tattooing himself,
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Tattoo Zoo is in Victoria, British Columbia, where you have roots on the island, and
all my family's from that.
yeah, and Rich, you're Ontario born, I believe, but you were out there as a young feller, having fun and moving away and getting into trouble.
Yeah. Well, I had finished college in Vancouver, and I was working the night shift at a community printing company doing newspapers. But previously I had met a bunch of the guys from the shop on a trip to Victoria. So I started being pretty friendly and hanging out with Todd and Kevin, Ian, guys from the shop, and met James through them. So I'd regularly, come in, and I'd always liked art and was drawing, so I started drawing with the guys there and kicking around a hacky sack, as the 90s. And from there one thing led to another.
We played a lot of hacky sack at Deadly back in the day.
In the upstairs, because it was so huge, man.
Yeah, that high ceiling thing.
It was just good exercise in between while we were waiting.
That's
how we did it.
You're sitting all day.
Between that or Eugene Lee doing fucking windmills on the floor and souping up. Yeah, it was cool.
And I met Shane, I think it was on 58th when you came with
Curtis.
Kurt,
Yeah.
Kurt, and you brought a painting for me, which
Yeah,
is
the
super kind.
The shop with the blue
awning, yeah.
Blue awning, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That would have been.
Who's Curtis?
He owns a couple shops up in Edmonton. He's attached to him. Semeniuk. Kurt Semeniuk.
I think I know the name. Yeah.
And Black
Crimson Empire,
Gold.
Black Gold.
Yeah.
And
cool.
Great.
Oh, yeah. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a.
He was partners with Mitch, maybe, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
collab on them, yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. What year would that have been? Maybe
I'm bad
2000.
with years, man. It's on Anthony was fucking new.
2010, 11.
Maybe you weren't even at the shop.
I think it was before.
He
that.
was Kurt was getting tattooed when I was.
You guys had
when I
that
was
front
still
end
there.
kid. He
Rod?
makes cocktails now, right?
Rod.
Yeah. I remember him.
I was probably 2009, 10 then.
Before your time.
Yeah, it
I
would have
think
been
it
early.
was 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Dino was there. Kevin was there.
Dad.
Dan would have just got there.
Dan. Yeah, Dan was there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like the McLeod show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
where you got tattooed, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
That
didn't.
place is awesome.
When did I meet you, Sean? I can't remember. It must have been at.
It was like I was saying the other day, like I took a guest spot in Banff, and then I drove down, just emailed you about getting a back piece, and then I drove down, and I think it was Dan and you guys traced me up, and I was really stoked to meet you because kind of been an influence for me, inspiration since first year in the tattooing. So I was stoked. Yeah, I was like, I think it was like 29, just really eager to get my back piece, and that was
Did you
probably
give
like
a year
2010.
in there? 2010?
I think
Yeah,
2010,
yeah.
something like that. 09, something like that.
Then I met Rob at the Saskatoon convention.
Yeah.
I kind of started hearing you. I took a kind of hiatus from, that was before social media. Maybe it was just hitting. Like the Instagram was hitting, maybe?
Yeah.
Before.
I think I met you before I had an Instagram account, but I don't know that for certain.
Yeah, he wasn't on Instagram. When
I was
we
late to
all
the party
kinda-
on
He
that.
was still like, well, who's Rob Noseworthy?
And I was checking out on the social
I
media.
knew who he was.
Yeah.
And then I met you and instantly just went over to your booth and checked your shit out because I've been hearing shit. And instantly, it was cool. Good shit.
Tell me more.
Well, you didn't tattoo me the fucking
I
day
tattooed
I met you.
that convention. I tattooed you. I texted my wife and said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking tattoo James Tex tomorrow." And I was freaked right out. Yeah, I tried to pretend you were just a plumber or something. And I met Rich at the first convention I ever did, which was in Vancouver, the Abbotsford. I think it was in Abbotsford. I don't remember the year. Do you remember the year?
No.
So you're the first of these whole crew I met for sure.
Yeah.
And then got close with you when you got your back done with Steve. You'd come stay and things. And then guest spot at your shop, which is when I got on these guys' radar, I think. You weren't there yet. I don't remember exactly when I met you.
It was like probably 6 months prior, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I met you, Rob, was before I think me and Rich had a handshake agreement. I was going to come work at Capella.
You were
and I met you
close,
at
right?
Saskatoon, and I was getting tattooed by James. So I was the same weekend you tattooed James. That's when I met you. Yeah, and I was pumped to meet you too, because I was seeing some of your work and stuff like that back
I
on
tattooed
Facebook.
Burrito pretty early, and you guys are close.
Yeah, around that same time, I think.
Yeah, so maybe there's a connection
Yeah, the
there
Samurai, Dragon.
too. Yeah,
Belly.
Samurai helmet and
Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember when I met Shane, but it probably convention or something, right? Like our circle didn't really cross as much.
Yeah, when I was in Vancouver, I think you were out there. But
You were in Vancouver. I forget that. Yeah.
Is that the first? That's the first convention I remember doing with you.
You and I?
Well,
Yeah, it was
were
me,
you,
you, Steve.
You were with Stace, right?
Well, no, so it was
Stace.
me, Stace, and Shane because
And you and Steve.
Yeah.
Like in that row.
Yeah, we were like
That
the
might have
Steve
been it.
Moore
I don't know.
Black and Blue.
Yeah, I don't remember
Oh, I remember that show.
specifics.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I can
yeah.
remember.
That was the second year I did that
Gus
show.
Wu was there too. Was that the year?
Well, I'm not sure.
Was that the Dave Shore year? Where the awards were like skateboards with Dave Shore on them?
Oh,
They did an art show, right?
Could
I think
get
you're right.
Yeah.
Because Clint had his booth kind of developed. You remember?
Clint was there, yeah.
Yeah.
And Halter was across from us, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the year. Was it Mad Child year?
Swole
Oh,
members
swole,
played.
right?
It went from like quiet to
Swole
like
members.
oh,
Yeah,
right to
my
the
rinse
show.
cup was like boom,
it was
boom,
crazy.
boom, splashing, splashing, splashing.
Like I am not into this. I am not into it. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
I think that probably is the best way to like meet tattooers and get tattooed, right? Like, go to
It's
them.
either doing guest spots or grinding it out at a convention.
Yeah.
But that just means traveling.
Yeah.
It's key.
Yeah.
At that show, I
my
met
eyes, yeah.
I spoke to the Dutchman for the first time, and he actually knew of my work and was complimentary, and that was like a tingly moment. you know?
Same, man. That same weekend too.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
He messaged me on Instagram and it was very nice. And I was
Oh,
That
doesn't
says, that says a lot
that's
about
something.
Yeah,
That's something.
shit.
Yeah.